Hello, I have a new journal to share. This one was made from a book cover, which I already had. It was red cloth covering, and I decided it looked kind of plain, so I collaged the front with some pictures from old magazines. I'm calling this my Ladies' Home Journal because I've got most of the images from old women's magazines from the 30s and the 40s. And I also covered the back with ads from those old magazines that I liked. After I finished covering it, which I used this to adhere the pictures. It's golden gel medium, heavy gel matte finish. It's thick and it really adheres well, and everything dries nice and smooth. After I put it on, I used a gift card to scrape it down and get it really nice and smooth. When it was done, it seemed like it needed a little unification. Some of the ads were different colors or different tints, so I took some acrylic glazing liquid. This is slow-drying water-based acrylic multi-purpose made by Golden. It has a little bit of a glossy finish. And I mixed that with some watercolor pigment. I used this kind of orangey color, and I mixed in a little bit of this burgundy just to kind of tone it down a little bit. And I liked the way it looked. It didn't take very much color. It's mostly clear, but it does give it just a more aged look. And on the back too, it really unifies and makes these ads look a little bit more even in their color. Then I added some gold rub and buff on the corners just to kind of highlight it a little. And this tassel is just something I attached. I put a little hole right there. I just wanted it to have a little tassel. So the book cover started out kind of like this one. It's a hardcover. And I cut here and here with my X-Acto knife, and the pages just can all come out. Once they come out, you can separate them into signatures, and then you have a full page that opens out, instead of just ripping them out and you only get half the page. So I really prefer doing it that way. A lot of the pages in here I used were from old women's magazines. This one's an old Good Housekeeping from 1946. The cover's missing, but there's lots of good material in here. So the way these magazines are put together is they put two heavy-duty staples right here. And so what I do is take a tool and lift those edges of those staples and then pry these out. Usually I have to use pliers to get them out. And once you get the staples out, then you have signatures like this. So there's the holes where the staples were. And you have the full 2 pages. So you can pick out the pages you want to use. That one I cut part of it off. And there's just some really neat pictures in these old magazines. I really like them. Here's one that I'll probably use in something with the corset. And here's this one here, which I think is really pretty. It's from a 1930s Cosmopolitan magazine. So I had those pages, and then for the other pages I used tea-stained paper, and I had found some large sheets of copy paper at a thrift shop, and so I tea-stained it and then folded in half. It made the perfect size to fit in here. This one I did some stenciling on. So on the inside cover, I used a page here from the original book that I made my journal from. And the paper was nice, heavyweight paper, and so I glued that down using the heavy gel. And I also took a page and put it on the back also. This book has 2 signatures. I used a hidden binding. You can see the 2 signatures here. And down here I sort of reinforced the binding with this little scrap of silk I had and glued that down really well. I reinforced it here and also in the back. And the front covers of each of the signatures are made from Lakta paper. It's a paper that comes from Nepal. It's handmade. It's beautiful paper. I love it. It's very heavyweight and yet soft. The colors are gorgeous. You can get this paper either in an art supply store or from Dick Blick if you want to order it. It's called Lakta, L-O-K-T-A. So inside, I alternated tea stain pages with pages from the old magazines. And then I did add just a light bit of stenciling to each page just to add a little more interest. The magazine pages are fairly thin, but I reinforced the edges with some washi tape. And I did glue a few extra little things on there, sometimes like this and this. On this page I used some toile tissue for the background, like this. And I glued that down with glue stick. And then this picture, which was cut from a magazine, I glued down with glue stick also. I use mostly glue stick when I'm doing paper on paper. It's smooth and no crumpling and wrinkling. After I'm done, I always go back and check and make sure all the corners are glued down. This page had a wedding theme, so this picture came from another one of the magazines. I have to thank my sister Christy for helping me cut all of the images out. We sat and fussy cutted from those old magazines and catalogs for hours, and it was kind of fun to do, actually. Here I glued down a feather I have had for a long time. Thought I might as well use it. A couple of pictures of birds. This page, this is the original page except for her. I did cut her out and glued her down just to add a little more interest. And then I also added this little strip here with Shirley Temple at Christmas time. Another fussy cut picture. This is the center of the first signature, and I attach these 2 little circles to the strings. I also cut out a few things from an old 1965 Christmas catalog. It was Montgomery Ward's. This picture came from that catalog, and so did this one. And I used to have some boots like that back in the 60s. This is a page from the original old book, which I glued on top of here, just because I wanted to use it. I love these old ads. And that needs to be glued down. That was from the Christmas catalog. I did add these coffee rings when I was doing the tea dyeing, because just thought it was kind of interesting to add some more variation in the coloring. That's a picture I glued down. This is a stamp that with gold embossing powder. These pictures were cut from a children's book of songs, and Once again, thanks to my sister who shared that book with me and cut out these pictures. Then in the end of each signature, I had some extra paper, so I folded it over, sewed it down, and made it into a little pocket so I could add some extra paper back there. This is also Lokta paper. Lokta. Little stamping, picture from a magazine. I'm not sure where I got that. Probably a magazine. I used a little scrap here to make a pocket for this old card I found from 1916. All about California tourists. We get a lot of them in Oregon, where I'm from. And Lucy sort of epitomizes California, especially in this outfit. This was from a Good Housekeeping magazine. And there's actually some recipes here. Frankfurter rolls with chili dressing. There's a cheese souffle. And this is the center of the second signature. And in each of these tuck spots, I put just a folded piece of paper, tea stained, with a picture on top. This is a pocket I made by adding an extra piece of paper, and this is just a piece of graph paper from a composition book that I turned into some extra journaling space. Bologna curls with creamed peas. There's the cheese souffle recipe. Love those beautiful pictures from the magazines. Here I added a little bit of decorative stitching. And another pocket. And this is another little mini journal I made. This was a corset advertisement that I just made a copy of that. And put in some tea-stained papers. And here is the pocket for the last signature with a little mini journal made with some more graph paper. This one I just stitched with my sewing machine right down the middle. And this is from a 1937 Cosmopolitan. And here's the inside back cover. That's it. This is my Ladies Home Journal journal. Thank you for watching.